Do you ever feel like your brain is a browser with 97 tabs open and you cannot find the music tab? That was me until journaling saved me. Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I want to share a 5-step journaling method while I randomly journal, some notes along in this video that helped me with something really personal and honestly really helpful for me. It's about the time I realized my brain was completely overstimulated and how I put it in a kind of timeout using journaling. And I know the word overstimulated might sound dramatic, but it's not. We all experience it at some point, even if we don't always call it that. For me, it's just that moment when my mind won't stop. Thoughts and worries and emotions, they're all swirling at once, and that's exactly what journaling helped me with, giving me a sense of safety, because at the end of the day, it's all psychology, and psychology calls that cognitive and emotional overload. It happens when your brain is handling more stress, information, and responsibilities that it can process at once. And if we don't slow it down, it just keeps spinning until we're exhausted, anxious, or fried. And yes, sometimes fried like the emotional equivalent of burnt toast. And yeah, there is also this quote I've always loved by the Stoic philosopher. I really cannot pronounce this name. It's Seneca. And he said that we suffer more often in imagination than in reality, and I just can't help agree with it. That hit me hard. Most of the time my brain worries about things that are not even happening yet. Those what ifs and scenarios and possibilities, they pile up until I can barely think straight, and it's basically a mental Olympics I didn't sign up for. And then there's also this another quote I really love. It was from a painter. His name was Chuck Close, and according to him, he kind of provided a solution. So he said that if you're overwhelmed by the size of a problem, break it down into smaller pieces. And I mean, just wow. If you break your problem down into smaller pieces, you've already figured half of the problem out already. Because when your brain is overstimulated, everything feels massive, urgent, and impossible. All these quotes are not from therapists though, but modern psychology often uses them in their therapies. Overwhelm isn't unusual. Sometimes it's about perspective or structure and a way to calm the storm in our heads. So yeah, therapists often mention that people struggle to even name what they're feeling when overwhelmed, because honestly, even I cannot. I just don't know why, or I just cannot explain it. And if you cannot put it into words, it just keeps spinning, making the overwhelm worse. And that's why journaling became my tool, a safe place to unload without judgment. So here's the 5-step journaling method I use to calm my overstimulated mind. This is my personal experience, how I did it, what I felt, and how my brain slowly started to settle down. So yeah, let's just get into it. The step 1 is, and I call the step brain dump, and I have mentioned this so many times in my other videos as well. So this step is basically about, I give myself 5 to 10 minutes to dump my brain onto paper. Literally everything. Tasks, worries, fears, random thoughts, and existential crisis. It all went down. And this step is not about like neatness. I just wrote, and it felt like opening a valve. Thoughts that were bouncing around, feeding the overwhelm. You might think, but I don't have time to write everything down. 5 minutes is enough, literally. And it works. The point is to give your brain a safe place to unload. When I finished, I felt a subtle but important relief. My thoughts were still there, but instead of sorting them out in my mind, I was able to sort them out on paper instead. And like externalizing my thoughts, like clearing 97 tabs open in your browser, it works like pure magic, seriously. And now comes the step 2. This step is called identify and name emotions. So I go back to my notes and I read slowly. This sounds more like a detective mode on, and I look for repeated thoughts and patterns and most importantly, emotions. Then I name them, like I feel anxious because I have too much to do, or I feel frustrated because I cannot control this, whatever the problem is. And this is basically locating the source of it all. So naming emotions engages the reasoning brain, and this step was literally eye-opening for me. Honestly, some intensity didn't come from the actual problem, it came from my thoughts about it. And once I saw that, the overwhelm didn't feel suffocating anymore. And that's how like our brains are wired to work, and it will only happen if you actually do these steps. So yeah, and now comes the step 3. This step is called categorize and prioritize. This gave structure to my stormy mind, and I basically categorized them into 3 important parts. So like the first part is that things that require immediate action. It comes in the today's task or the to-do list for that day. The next part is future tasks. Plan for later, but not now. And then the third one is out of my control. These are basically the stressors I couldn't change. So like no more I need to do everything at once. Suddenly I could see what to tackle, plan, and let go. And now comes step 4. This step is called problem solve and reframe. So it like focuses on immediate actions. I wrote 1 or 2 concrete steps per task, tiny and manageable actions. Then I reframe thoughts like I cannot handle this to I can take this 1 step at a time. Reframing gave my brain a gentle pep talk. Control isn't doing everything perfectly. It's handling what is manageable and moving forward. This step felt liberating, honestly. That small shift changed my emotional state drastically. Finally, a little order in the chaos. And now comes the final step, step 5. This step is called reflect and self-soothe. Finally, reflection. I spent 5 minutes writing 1 thing I did well, something to let go of, indirectly feeding my brain that I can handle it step by step. And it worked. It gave me emotional relief, a sense of closure and self-care. Pairing it with rituals, deep breaths, warm tea made it so much more I don't know, it just made me feel calm. And over time I noticed journaling worked better as a habit. Morning journaling for planning, evening journaling to unwind. Some days skipped steps, some merged too. It's totally fine, I get it. And it's not about perfection anyway, so it's about giving your brain a safe outlet. The benefits were subtle but cumulative. I could see patterns, anticipate stress triggers, and most importantly, gave my brain permission to rest, which clearly it desperately needed. And so that's my method to put my overstimulated brain in timeout. And if this resonates with you, I hope it gives you a gentle, practical way to pause, organize thoughts, and care for yourself. And this brings me to the end of my video as well. So yeah, journaling is personal, but sharing methods can make it more approachable. So let me know down in the comments how you feel, how you have tackled your overstimulated brain, and it might help someone out there. So yeah, take care, and I will see you in the next video.